Village of Armada regular council meeting will now come to order. Will everyone rise for the pledge of allegiance to the flag, please? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Clerk, call roll, please.
Clark?
Here.
Conan?
Here.
Bullock?
Here.
Ballard?
Here.
Sleds?
Here.
Belkey?
Here.
Shaw's absent.
Approval of the agenda. What's the council's wishes, please?
Mr. President, I'll move the agenda be accepted as presented.
Support.
Been moved and supported by Ballard and Clark. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Next is citizen comments. There's no citizens in the audience at this time, so let the record show. We will move on to presentations. There's no presentations tonight. You have the administrative reports next. You have the treasury report.
I don't know that that's supposed to be on there, is it, Joe? Treasurer's report? That's second meeting.
No, that's second meeting.
Okay, that's
All
my
right.
mistake. All right, so we don't have that in the packet. Okay.
All right, cross that out, please.
How did that happen?
So, next is Commissioner Liaison Reports. Planning Commission, 2020 year review. Planning Commission meeting minutes of 12/7/20. Planning Commission 2021 agenda. Planning Commission 2021 meeting dates. So that is being recorded as such.
Mark, along with the planning commission, just a couple things to note. You're gonna have a administrative office in Krause's. It's a medical supply company. They're not putting supplies out from there. It's the administrative office. They have to have an office like when you're working with Medicaid.
This is the old building, not the
Yes,
new
in the old
building.
Krause's, right.
Okay. That's South Fulton.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So no
No.
medical
Right
supplies?
down there by us.
No medical supplies, though?
No, they're not, it's not a distribution center,
Okay.
but it's their offices.
You may want to put that on a sign, because I know they've had problems in the
The
past.
sign is only gonna be, right now, the only sign is gonna be on the window of the door.
Got it.
Also, the chiropractor's office that used to be on West Main, that moved to, into where the dance studio was on Main Street, that's gonna be offices.
Oh, okay.
And Larry's gonna be putting in a parking lot next to,
South.
he bought that house that unfortunately burned down, and they're gonna be making that a parking lot. So just a few things.
Good news.
Okay. Any other reports from commissioners? No?
I'm going to hold old business.
Very good. General business consent agenda, approval of the regular council meeting minutes of December 21st, 20, and a payment of bills. What is the council's wishes, please?
Mr. President, I'll resolve to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Support?
By Clark again,
Yes.
moved and supported. Any further conversation or discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Old business sewer plan update, which is Mr. Clark's department.
Okay.
Do you have anything, Mr. Clark?
Yeah, I've got a few items. There was a construction meeting down at the plant last Wednesday. Dennis Ryan and Karen Nichols from Eagle were there on Zoom. And on that week, on Friday, I talked to Doug Skylas about change order 4, which is going to be on a little bit later on our agenda. Pipe gallery has been painted. A new control panel has been installed, and there's much electrical work and piping being worked on now. So that's all I've got on that.
Very good. Any questions of Mr. Clark, please? If not, Water Department, Mr. Bell.
Okay, I got several items. There is a little report in your packet, if you want to follow along. The Waterworks Transition Management Contract, we did have a start of work meeting this last Monday, the 4th of January. In fact, Steve walked in, so he was there with it. Ed Saratowski was there as well, along with F&B representatives. It was a Zoom meeting. We discussed some of the basic scope of work for that activity. And got Chris Munson, who I think some of you are familiar with. I'm not familiar with Chris, but we've got Chris and Ed together so that they could work out a schedule of activities over the next 3 months. This contract, again, for those that maybe don't remember, it's a 3-month contract. It positions us to be able to do a longer-term waterworks management contract starting in April. So what this does is it allows Chris Munson to shadow Ed to make sure he fully understands the operation of the water treatment plant and the other waterworks activities that they will assume responsibility for. I did go ahead and sign the contract. We did make sure that all of your concerns were addressed. They were all pulled out of the PSA, Jeff, which was good news. Lyle, yes, that port location towards Grand Rapids is because that's where their headquarters is. They said they'd rather have us drive up there than them drive down here. No, they didn't say that, but I'm sure that's why. I'm sure that's why it is. And Lyle's or Marv's question, we answered that. It's there's a primary person, that is Chris Munson. He is the guy that's supposed to be here not more than 10 hours a week, potentially some more hours as we get closer towards February and March. It may go over 10 hours, but 10 hours is the average. It's a better way to say it. There are 2 backup people. We did inquire what is the wage for those people per hour. Chris was $85 an hour. These people are equally capable. They have the same license, the same experience, and they will fill in as backups. They are $85 an hour if we use them. We may occasionally use them. I would assume that means because Chris is not here, right? So the intention is not to have 3 guys for 1,000 hours a week at $85 an hour. That's, I'm watching for that kind of stuff. But just to make sure that everybody is confident about this, I will provide some regular updates on the amount of hours per week and how many people work, so that you can kind of get an idea of what's happened over the next 3 months. And then, obviously, if there's any concerns, let me know. Anyway, good meeting. We're off and running and moving in the right direction. Got some great news with respect to PFAS testing. It's a new EGLE requirement that municipalities have to test for baseline levels of PFAS every year, possibly more a year. We tested a year or so ago and we had no reports of any of the PFAS related substances, and there's 18 of them. And our latest test showed no contamination, no reports of any of the PFAS substances. So for a change, there's something we don't have to worry about. It's unlikely we will into the future. We'll probably still have a yearly testing requirement, but we got a report back from EGLE that says not detected. So we are good. Capital improvement program and funding option report. We did get the initial draft of that report by the end of December, and in fact it's into its second draft because I made some markups and sent it back. And so Chris and Steve and Joe and Becky should all have copies. Please take a look at those copies and let me know if you have any comments or concerns. We've got a little bit more time to make any final changes or updates to this plan. My intention is to get it back to council in final for the next meeting so that it can be approved. We can make changes after that, but it may cost us a little bit. Chris may want to do a PACER evaluation on roads or update I guess, Chris, we've got who was it, Lyle, that did Did
Row engineering.
Road, okay, so we may want to have Roe come back out and update their report. I'm not sure how many, how old it is, and so what you got, what we provided for this report may not be accurate, right?
Is that the street priorities?
That was the street priority, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so, so this report will be heavily weighted towards water with some sewer. But what's interesting is they did overlay, what our current expected, water problems, road problems, sewer problems on top of each other. And you can pretty clearly see, although Becky printed it in black and white, so you can't see the colors. I'll get you some colored versions. You can pretty see where the problems are in the village from the standpoint of that infrastructure, right? And so, just understand, we start talking in the future about doing water lines. We had Steve Nichols in talking about his water line. We look to do those. I really got to have streets and sewer consider doing it at the same time I do it. Otherwise, it doesn't pass a common sense test, right? Because then you'll dig up that road 2 times, 3 times to fix stuff. So it makes sense to fix it all at the same time. That's why this plan is good, because it lets you see that. Those aren't the only issues we got. So more to come on that, but we did get it from F&V in time. I think it's a good report, and I think it'll be enlightening to everybody once you get the final version, which should be the next meeting. We did, thanks Jeff, we did get the right arsenic detention easement language filed with the Register of Deeds, and so we're good there.
It's gonna get registered tomorrow. Had to wait for because we have to pay, so they had to go through the schedule.
Okay, it's in process.
Yep.
So the big thing is the right language.
Yep.
Don't want to register the wrong language. That whole thing was a bit of an exercise in frustration. Some bad news is that I have talked to Sunshine Water Treatment, and the suggestion is that the cost of the G2 media is going up. So I'm working that. That's very high to begin with, and it may be higher. On the other hand, there's a number of grants which are talked about in the capital improvement plan that I'm applying for. I've already applied for one grant. There's another grant that deals with PFAS substances. Obviously, we don't apply to that, but it also includes other contaminants such as arsenic, and we're right in that bucket, and so I'm going to apply to that, and maybe that'll defer the cost of the media, right? I mean, you can get up to $5 million, so that would take care of us nicely, and the arsenic detention project as well.
Well, we agreed to $371,000.
We did, and
Can they hold us,
No,
it's not a,
what we did,
an intent to
A letter of
purchase.
intent,
right,
yeah.
so
Letter of
we don't
intent.
have like a PO, a binding
Right.
PO to buy it yet. So
Right.
we needed to tell them so they could go to the supplier and say,
We
Armada
have
needs
interest.
this amount.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
so they can
that's-
stick us for more money?
Well, it's, as
See
I
what
understand it,
does.
it's, the company that produces it is a Canadian company. They're looking at currency exchange rates, and, you can take it from there. And so they want to make sure they get their money. It doesn't matter to me if we get a grant.
Right,
Because that solves all our problems.
Right.
So we are definitely putting in for that grant.
good.
And then finally, the cross connection inspections will start 1 April. I will put out some information in the water sewer bills. I want to share the Payne water sewer bill. Put out some information to the non-residential customers about what they can expect. And incidentally, I'm also going to include a note to all water customers because, of course, in the COVID environment, we got a number that have not been able to make payments. And I would certainly like to see a good faith attempt by customers to come in and work out a payment plan with the village. We understand the pain, but when it comes time that the governor takes off the moratorium against shutting off water, we're going to have to distinguish between who goes first and who goes last. And if you've made a good faith attempt to work with the village and pay something, we'll work with you. If you haven't done anything, it makes it tough to to ignore that. So, okay, that's all I have.
No, talk to me at the end of the meeting on that.
Okay. Will do.
Thanks, Mr. Belkey.
You asked to talk to you for what, Joe?
The information you just gave you regarding the water bills and the shut-offs and,
Before you send the letter, you mean?
no, you can send a letter, just, I wanna get something going on Channel 6 for it too.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, so, just with respect to that, Becky's expecting something from me by Friday. She's gotta start getting the mailings together, and they'll go out,
Because the bills are going up.
yeah, they'll go out later this month.
Yeah.
So,
All right, next is a new business, cdbg, public hearing at 7 o'clock. And the thing is, we will go with a motion on that, please, to set the public hearing.
Mr. President, I'll resolve to open the public hearing to approve the fiscal year 2021/2022 CDBG program at 7:18. Yeah.
Support.
Moved and supported, any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
No.
Roll.
Roll call.
All right, roll call, please.
Ballard,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Belkey,
yes.
Conan,
Yes.
Sleds,
Yes.
Bullock.
Yes. Motion carried.
You don't, I'll go.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is our yearly CDBG distribution to nonprofits. I've included in your packet what we gave last year. I've included who has requested. We do have one new one this year, that requested. And I gave you also what these service activities do, so hopefully you guys have all had a chance to review them to see, if you had any concerns. I want to let everybody know that PAL last year, we gave money to the Police Athletic League for their campers, which we always do every year. As you all know, with what was going on in 2020, there was no PAL camp, so they had to turn that money back over to the county, which they did. There was no problem with that.
They get to keep it, eh?
It's just, because it's given to help to send a camper, and if you didn't send campers, they have to return it. Which they did, they followed everything, right. I just wanted to be sure if you read the letter that you understand that's just the process. That's what happens, so. But other than that,
The larger point though is that money goes to the county then determines how to spend it, we don't.
it does. It goes back, I believe, and Jeff, I'm not sure if you know, or if I'm gonna misspeak here, but I believe it goes back into their, home repair programs and stuff. As you guys know, we get so much that we're allotted for our senior minor home repair program. Again, I'd like to remind the public, if you are a low to moderate income home, a senior, you can apply through the county and get help with stuff. I mean, it's not gonna, repair your entire home, but, it's minor home repairs, hot water heaters, entry ramps,
Gutters, roof repairs.
yeah,
windows.
so, I mean, it's very worth your while. If you need to call the office, we can put you into the, send you to the right direction so you can talk to the county. We've had some residents use it, and, is even as far as getting a new refrigerator, if your refrigerator's old and it's, not energy efficient. So, there are programs out there to help, but CDBG, for this portion of it is just to allot for the nonprofits, who I'm sure are all struggling this year too, just like a lot of our residents, so that's what this is.
The new one is for?
Pardon me?
The new one is for?
Interfaith volunteer caregivers, that's the first time that they have applied for us. With us.
Sure.
Oh, chore, that's the county
That's the only
program,
way.
that always goes to them, we don't allocate that, they take that right off everybody's CDBG allocation. I have information about that here in the office too, I just don't wanna spout off about it, cause I don't wanna say something wrong, so.
Who's the new one that got added?
Interfaith volunteer
Interfaith.
caregivers. Last year, again, we gave to McCrest, Samaritan House, Armada Pal, and Care House.
Well, I think.
Jeff, you had mentioned that the village can reallocate funds mid-year. How does that generally work?
Well, so basically, every year you do, you know.
Oh, wait, Jeff, shouldn't we close the public hearing part of this and then talk about this, or doesn't it?
Yeah, it's really public hearing
Because
just to get public.
Yeah, and the public, there's no public here, so maybe we should close and then we can continue that
All right,
conversation.
want to do that then?
We need a yeah.
You have a motion there.
Yes, Mr. President, I'll resolve to close the public hearing at 7:23 p.m.
Support.
Moved and support. Any further discussion?
No roll on this one.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Okay, I'm sorry, I just, there's no public here, so.
So, essentially what you're doing is you're doing what I call like a one-year action plan. You're basically, every year we do this is a one-year action plan. If during that year, you need to reallocate because you can't use it for a certain purpose, you can go ahead and amend that plan. In fact, I think the county probably requires that you take some action to amend it. In other words,
Yes.
Michelle can't call them and say, hey, I'd like to, so we generally would come forward with a plan amendment and just approve it. Now, we'd take it from one pot and put it into another pot.
Right.
So that's possible.
Okay, I mean, I guess that assumes we know what expenditures have been made, given who we've given it to, so we gotta keep in touch with them and stuff like that, right? So we would have to,
Well, once,
we gave you 2,000, you spent 1,000, but you're not gonna be able to spend another 1,000, it could be out.
yeah, I don't know that we would know that throughout the year. We don't get a report of how people spend it.
I mean, we would have to query them. I mean, we would have to-
Yeah, what, I mean, look, with Pal, unfortunately, 2020 happened. So, nothing fun happened last
Well, and
year.
frankly, that's the tough part about
Right.
this is, Pal does great stuff, but would we want to give Pal, a greater amount of money this year, not knowing if they can spend it, and then if they don't spend it, and we're not checking on it, it's gonna go back to the county, God bless the county, and, on the other hand, some of these other guys, if you look through Michelle's report, you can see where they meaningfully have helped out people this last year in the village. Certainly like to support that. I have to imagine they're probably hurting more this year, right? So it just, as we talk about allocations, I'm not trying to take away from PAL and give to other people necessarily, but if PAL's unlikely to spend it, or we don't know that they're gonna spend it, then we may wanna give it to some of these other people that probably have an immediate need for the money.
And usually like PAL and the groups that we allocate to, if they know they can't use it, they usually get in touch with us and in touch with the county.
Yeah, I did not, well, they got in touch with the county, not in touch with me per se, but we would, we all live here.
I would
So
think
it's like we
PAL
know
would be
if
the
PAL-
only one that may run into the problem again, and I think we would know,
We won't know that until,
well,
boy, maybe
Later on.
July. I don't
later
know.
on, but I
You
think,
know.
August, right?
They go in August, I believe,
Yeah.
yeah. Been a long time since my kids.
but if
were
we
around.
found, we found out then, could we reallocate, or we already would have lost that money?
I'd have to talk to, well, we don't lose the money. I mean, they,
Yeah.
I would have to talk to Stephanie at the county
Okay.
to, I don't know when, like, if you read through the report, some of these, don't get good ratings from the county because they don't spend their money and the counties have to recapture it. For PAL, that's not the case. They have an excellent rating with the county, they've spent the money that they've taken. 2020 did, that was unexpected, and of course they didn't, that we were all hopeful that by August the kids would be able to go to camp. This year, who knows?
What's the interfaith here?
You have to look them up, Dave, I don't remember.
That's the new one.
Yeah.
That's the new one.
Yeah.
I'm familiar with McCrest, I'm familiar with Samaritan House, I'm
Yeah.
familiar with Care House.
Eligible seniors and physically
Is this, the one on child abuse here, that's from Care House, right?
That's Care House.
That's Care
That's
House.
what they do.
I don't think I have something about the interfaith.
No, I
Look at the
don't.
list of page 2, Dave.
Yeah, it's only, what you have from Interfaith is from the county.
And then also, what is the one where with the county where it says,
Where chore gets taken.
where is it here? Oh, Macomb County Warming Center.
That one, we have not given to in the past, and I don't believe that they've asked for, money this year.
Well, maybe to me, I think we should keep,
I don't think we can give to them if they haven't requested from us.
okay,
Yeah.
but I think we should keep things the way they are. And if we wanted to give, to the interfaith volunteer caregivers, we should take that 150 out of the 1,400 for that.
I'd like to see the press change to 500.
I would like to.
Sorry.
The press got 200 last year.
Oh, I'm sorry.
They got 200 last year. You
Well, I'd like to
were
take it down to 400 then.
They got, no, you're still
Up
going
to
up.
400?
Okay, last,
400 instead of 792.
well, that's their request. What they received last year was 200.
200.
Samaritan House requested 500 this year. We gave them 200 last year. PAL requested 1,750, we gave them 1,400 last year. Care House requested 600 this year, we gave them 400 last year. Interfaith Volunteer Caregivers, whom we've never dealt with, is asking for $148. And we did not give to them last year because they didn't request last year. I'm not saying they're a new organization,
Right.
they just didn't request from us last year.
So,
I'd like to take it from a press down to $400 and put care with the.
400 is still more than you gave last year. If you're looking to, you need to look at this column right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's 200. So that's what we gave last year. You want to up them to 400 in the press?
Instead of 792, yes.
No.
No.
We only have 2,200.
We got,
Yeah.
2,200's gotta be
So
out.
either we leave it exactly the way it was from last year, or as Dave said, you start looking at, like, for example, PAL and pulling it down. or
Yeah, because what, the amount
They
of
like to
requests that we
intervene.
got was 3,700.
If that's what you
I hate to say it, but I would like to see PAL pull down a little bit, because we can't guarantee, or they can't guarantee, nobody can guarantee at this point that people are going anywhere this year.
Well, and-
Right?
and-
Unless we're gonna physically go check with them mid-year and reallocate money, so we have to commit to that, otherwise, you look at,
right, well, how do you wanna do it? Just break it down the way you'd like to do it.
Oh, this is
all right,
one.
Well, if you gave PAL $1,400, that would send, if they go up to 350, somebody give me some math here, 350 goes into 1,400, how many times? Do some math, guys.
About 4 people.
So that would send about 4 kids, okay?
we,
You know, that's all I'm saying is that would send 4 kids. If you want to take it down, I would take it down.
No, I will say this,
Per-
PAL
by
can also go to
325,000.
other organizations to
Right.
get money. And,
right, PAL put 4 Armada community people through camp last year. Child Advocacy Service Program helped one person or one family in the village. Interfaith helped one person in the village.
That's probably why they're requesting.
Macomb County Emergency, again, that's the county, and so shelters are not located here, so there's a number of shelters around that they helped out. Samaritan House helped 8 people in the village. I want to give more to some of these other organizations that are probably feeling a real pinch now, that can help some people in the village, right? Unless PAL can guarantee us they're gonna send people to camp, which they can't. Or, I would be happy to give them more money if we physically go and check with them mid-year and reallocate funds if they don't think they're gonna go anywhere. I don't wanna give it back to the county, I wanna help people
we
in the
gotta set
village.
it up tonight.
Well, what we could do, what I can do, I mean, because I live in Armada, just as everybody else does here, it's like, we will know if PAL is not going to camp. I mean, that's just common knowledge around town. I can ask Sandy to let me know as soon as they know that they're not going to be able to send them, and I'll have to talk to the county about how to reallocate that money. I'm sure it's not a problem. Jeff's, probably dealt with it more than I have because we've never done that. So if, if you want to give them, 1,400, but my point about how many kids they're sending is if you're gonna drop it, I drop it by
Increments.
yeah, by increments, rather than $100 because that's not gonna do,
Do you know what the increment is?
I think it's 320,
325.
350, I think it went up to 350. So,
I think it's all off that thing.
Oh, it is 350.
Yeah.
yeah, it's further down in the
Oh,
letter.
Oh, okay.
It's 350.
It's
So,
350.
Mr. President, I have a question. That's, Michelle, if we were to give the $1,400 to just do exactly what we have here, and if the Armada Pal does not go to camp, we bring it back in and we split up that $1,400 between the Crest Samaritan House and Care House.
well, you'd make that decision later.
Later,
And I'm not sure, Jeff, and maybe you know this, I mean, that we would know this by August, because August is when they go to camp.
They should know well before that, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, because it's a fiscal
Well,
year,
yeah,
so it would be,
well before that.
is their fiscal year for the county, is it January to, or for CDBG,
I
you
think the
know?
county is June 30th.
What about
But I'm not sure.
CDBG, HUD?
Whew.
My point is if their
I think
fiscal
it
year
might.
ends, you know, at a weird time, I assume it's calendar year just because, well, no, it's 2021. Yeah, I don't,
I guess the challenge is this, the need is probably right now for the next 6 months, right? That's probably where the heavy need is. If everybody gets vaccinated by the summer, then maybe it goes away, right? And then PAL would have been able to use the money. I mean, it's a gamble right now, but
Right.
I would say let's figure out an increment to give to PAL. I think, what is that?
Well, if you're trying to fund that-
350, that's 7, 1050 to PAL, and let's distribute the other money against these other guys that have, at least by the stuff from last year, they help people in the village.
So you give IBG 150, and then that gives you.
Give them their
then you get
150.
$200 left. To split amongst the other.
How much?
whatever.
We need to do 148, because I think we have to give them what they requested.
Oh, the exact
You can't go
amount?
over, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
all right.
Okay, so that's,
So now it's really gonna mess you guys up with math.
I think we should do it just the same as we have it printed here.
Do the same as 2020 last year?
Yes.
So 1,400 to.
Leave all these figures the same.
Well, that's what you're discussing. So if you wanna, it's up to you guys how you want to disperse. I just need the numbers so I can let the county know.
That would mean we're.
If you want to take
Interface.
any of them down or increase any of them, then you have to take away from someone, is my point. You can't,
Michelle, can I offer one other suggestion? I
Yep.
think your motion's fine, I know we're gonna fill in the amounts, but I do think we should, part of our program is making the 7,500.
can't do that. I talked to Stephanie. The motion is just for,
Really?
yes,
Okay.
yep. I asked her about that, because last year, she's like, oh, I don't know if that'll work. So we had to change it
Okay.
for this year.
So Jeff, what was your?
Well, I just,
Because I usually put in the motion that we're giving $7,500 to our senior minor home repair program.
Yeah, gotcha.
And that's changed. And it changed last year, and last year, I mean, the motion worked, but she's
She
like,
doesn't
don't
want
do it,
that?
no. Mm-mm.
okay, so that was my only concern is, we don't really have a record that we're
Yeah, that's being
allocated
allocated.
Right.
7,500.
We don't. I'll make sure it goes into the minutes.
And my other question, and I think I know the answer, but I'm gonna ask anyway. Is there, the 2,200 includes the 300? So
Yeah.
I'm a little confused, because if you look at your thing, if we allocate 2,200 to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I think it's
That's
Well, it's 4. Because interfaith is new, so we have 5 that requested 4 that we gave to
No,
last
I
year.
guess what I'm saying though is, if you look, if we drop in all the numbers, are we asking the council to approve 2,200 to those groups
Mhm.
plus 300, but our motion shows a total of 2,200? Do you see what I mean?
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
No,
The
no,
motion
no,
should have
no.
said 25.
Hold it. It's 2,200, because you can give X amount of percentage to nonprofits. We've always given the maximum amount, I don't remember, it's 15, something like that.
Okay.
300 then, so you have 2,200, 300, and then 7,500 of our $10,000 allocation goes to senior minor home repair, which we don't have to include in the motion. So that 300 is on top of the 2,200, and then 300,
I
that's
thought the
75.
15% applied to our total allocation, right?
I got the stuff from her, I didn't print that off for council, but our allocation to our nonprofits is
No, no,
2,200.
what are we, that 15% is 15%
Of
of,
like 10,000.
right, so that's only 1,500.
$150.
No,
It might be, they tell me what I can allocate 2,200. So the percentage is different, the percentage is different because our amount is so low.
It is, and
Yeah.
in our summary, it says 23%.
okay.
Yeah,
So that's
Yeah.
fine, so,
Yes.
but I still am a little confused because we do include the 300 in the 2,200, so, I'm a little, like-
you don't.
No,
You
but
don't.
it
but
is.
but you
in the-
show, that's what I'm saying, you show that.
On our
In the
motion
motion?
sheet,
Yeah.
Oh, I might have, yeah. Maybe I didn't
It
catch
should be
that.
2,500, the total should be 2,500,
Hang on.
correct?
I can't even find my sheets. Here, sorry.
That's okay, it just won't add up if we don't.
Hmm.
You want us to allocate a total of 2,500, including the chore.
Yeah, you know what, just take the chore out of the motion. Because chore is automatic. They
Right.
automatically take that out. We
Alright.
can't not approve that.
That's fine.
So just take chore out of the
And we're just
motion.
working with the 2,200.
And you're just working with the 2,200.
Right.
Yep, thank you, Jeff. No, that's, yeah, and that's from the old, that was from the old motion, so.
And you're right, it's coming back to me. I think I asked.
Chore, you don't have a choice. You
No, I
can't say
think I
that.
asked you in the past, why are we over 15, and I remember you saying they changed it.
Well, because
We're
our
low.
amount is so low, like Sterling, I'm sure gets,
We are limited to 15.
yeah,
Okay,
Yeah.
good enough, no, that's.
right. And we're not because we only get 10.
So we have 2,200 to allocate.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, thank you.
Because are we leaving it alone, or do you want to get that interface in? And if that's the case, then you gotta remove from somebody, which would be PAL, in increments of 350, right?
That's what the letter says.
That's what it said, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's 148.
So just for discussion, I would recommend 252 to MQuest, 250 to Samaritan House, 1050 to PAL, that's their increments. That gets 3 people, which we don't know if they're gonna use it or not, right? 500 to Care House and 148 to Interfaith.
150, you want to make it even?
No, we can't.
I
They
think,
only asked for 148.
right,
Minus 4.
yeah, that's why you got the
That's why you
252
put
on
the
there.
$2 on MCREST.
I
Yeah.
mean, you can give Emcrest, you can take Emcrest, you can make those guys 301 each, and Samaritan House.
Well, if you do what I said, that's your 2,200. I mean, you can break it up. I would just advocate giving more, my apologies to PAL. I would
Hold on, you want to
give
leave
more to
Care House?
the other guys in this environment and not so much to PAL. And then we're not, Jason, trying to figure out the budget year and when money's gotta be spent and trying to recoup and reappropriate.
And, you
Alright,
know,
so
look,
what I was
and Care House also doesn't always spend it in the village. I mean, if you know anything about Care House, you pray to God that they don't, you know, but they do help any kid in Macomb County. My son, you know, I mean, I wish they didn't have to exist, but they do. And if you understand what they do, you understand that that 500, whatever, 200, 400, whatever you allocate to them may not be used. Let's
Yeah.
hope it's not.
I think
I
that's the
hope no
case with-
child has to
Yeah,
use
I
it.
think that's the case with any of them,
Yep,
except for PAL, right? And PAL is in the greater Armada Township. It may not be village kids, it may be
Right.
township kids. So, like I say, I think the need is greater for the social services and not necessarily going to camp. We don't know that camp's gonna happen.
All right, so we got 1,000, so you did your 2,200, we got 1,050 off of PAL,
You got
148
for
for
interfaith,
interfaith, that's $1,002 for the
Right.
other 3.
500 for Care House,
500?
right? I'm trying to give everybody a little bit more than they asked for. 250
So
to
two-
Samaritan.
so it'd be
no,
two-
you're not giving them more than they asked for, but we're giving them more than we gave them last year.
Correct. I'm looking at their 2020 allocation. You're right. That's the appropriate way to say it.
Yeah.
250 to Samaritan and 252 to MQuest because of the interfaith. You gotta make up that $2.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, 252.
I think that's a good distribution. Everybody gets something.
500.
And like McCrest, I'm not sure what McCrest is doing right now. I mean, given the
Yeah, I mean,
COVID
that was
and that,
even, no, that's a good point, that's even a challenge, because again, they
how are you
can't-
putting people in the
Yeah, they can't
churches?
put people together.
I mean, all I know is that they submit their requests to the county, and the county puts them in this format, and then they send them to us. So I don't know. The only reason that I would know about PAL getting canceled is because I don't live under a rock and I live in Armada. So, you're gonna, you'll hear PAL is canceled. It's a big deal when PAL camp was canceled, you know?
Did you make this motion?
No, there's not a motion on the
No
table
motion.
yet.
That's just a
We're just talking the
recommendation.
numbers, Dave.
Yeah,
Let me ask this, you mentioned ratings. I don't see any ratings on here. Do you are any of
they're
these?
not, no, it would be in the, like down here, it'll say note of concern. So if there's a concern with a nonprofit, they will put that on there.
Okay, I've not seen it.
I don't believe there's any, I don't look at any of them unless they request money from us. So I don't look at the rest of them.
Right, yeah, I was just looking at the ones that
Yep.
were asking
Yep.
us, so.
Yeah, there's no concern. I just wanted you guys to understand with PAL, they didn't get them recaptured because they did anything wrong. They did nothing wrong. They did everything right. It's just that camp got canceled.
Yeah.
And
So,
that's what that likely will be in this next year.
not their fault. Nobody's fault. Except for 2020, we'll blame it on 2020. So,
If nobody's got a problem with those amounts, then I'll make a motion on it. Although you're gonna have to help me through the motion, because
well, here.
For the numbers, I see.
Well, you have your numbers though, right? You have your numbers written down?
I do. All right, make a motion to approve the fiscal year 2021-2022 cdbg program as follows. And this is under program services. MQuest, $252. Samaritan House, $250. PAL, $1,050. Care House, $500.
Interfaith.
We can't,
Volunteer
we,
caregivers.
yeah, interfaith volunteer caregivers, not the warming center, right?
Right, not the warming
Yeah,
center.
okay. $148 for
Oh,
a
that's last year's too. Yeah.
total of $2,200.
Yeah, thank you.
Support.
Moving and support, any further discussion? Roll call.
Roll call.
Belkey,
Yes.
Ballard,
Yes.
Sledge,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Conan,
Yes.
Wolock.
No. Motion carried. Change order number 4, Mr. Clark, I believe, your department again?
I'm the lucky one.
You don't want them on the phone.
No, not yet. Okay, unless everybody has a major problem. Everybody should have in their packet change order number 4. And we have 4 items on there. First one being the SBR drain valve replacement. They found that the drain valves are inoperable. They tried and it's locked up. The next one is a sludge storage tank valve replacement. That's the same situation. Item number 3 is added concrete with additional sidewalk. And then the last one is north gallery blower access. They gave us 3 different options, but shortly after the meeting, I found out that we're pretty much stuck with option number 1, which is the cheap version, because of the way they were going to put the blowers in. You do all this work to get one blower down there without dismantling, and then when you go to put in the other 2 blowers, they had to be dismantled to get around that one. So that kind of put the kibosh on that. I was kind of leaning towards doing the door modification because I didn't want to mess things up for any future work down there. But then when I'm talking to one of the construction guys, he says, you know, these other blowers are 32 years old. The other ones, these should last. And they may have some new technology by then, and you may have done all this work for nothing because now then that new blower would have to be modified or the wall modified anyway. So the big deal is on the blower, it's got to be dismantled and then reassembled down there. And they would have people, somebody from the factory that assembled the blower there to verify that things were all set to go before things fired up.
Steve, what does the blower do?
it aerates the tanks, the SBR tanks. It helps the microbes and everything else in there that eats away at the sewage. It's just all part of the process. And the newer blowers, a lot of it it's in a housing to cut down on the noise. That's the old ones are kind of wide open. If you're down in that room when those blowers kick on, you need earmuffs on because they are extremely loud. So a lot of what you're taking apart is the outer housing on this blower to get the parts down there. And if something goes on it, which could be a motor, it's going to be no problem getting the motor down that hatch or even carrying it down the stairway to fix.
So what percentage of this project would you say is completed?
Oh geez, you know,
4%?
I mean, are we half done?
no,
More than half?
I would say no, we're not half done. Maybe,
Thought they started in the spring.
well,
It's a lot of work, Dave.
things didn't start until fall, really, for them to really start working on things. The permits were held up and some other
COVID.
problems ordering materials. So they're working during the winter. The pipe gallery is heated, it's painted. And part of the whole problem with the plant is, it's like a Rubik's Cube. The way it was designed, now we're starting to put new parts in. Well, you gotta take out an old part before you can put in a new part. You're moving a lot of pieces around. And it is what it is. I'm not happy with it. I've told them I'm not happy with it. I wasn't real happy with them finding out that the blower that they ordered wasn't gonna go through an access hole that they knew they had. I mean, you know, stuff like that, but, so in going through all this, my math is correct, and I believe I went through it a number of times. With change order one, item number one of this change order, item 1, item 2, 3, and 4, it comes out to a total of $46,805.50. Anybody got any questions on any of this? Again, I mean, I'm not happy about,
Do we have an estimated completion date on the project?
I'd have to look at the long-term sheet. I don't have one in front of me right now. I'll try and get that for the next meeting.
You know, just
No, I-
a rough idea, you
Even
know.
for myself, I mean, I would like to have that. So,
Did you need a motion? Maybe I missed it, but.
no, I haven't made a motion. I'm just putting this all in front of everybody. Unless anybody's got a question, I will make a motion.
Steve, my question is, which of these do you feel as though is the best for our plant?
Well, it ends up being, you gotta go with item number,
The first one, you said.
yeah, the first one. Because they found out after the fact. It's like, all the chiefs had this idea, but the primary guy that's gonna install this, he said, time out, wait a minute.
Yeah.
You're putting this here, and I gotta get these other ones past this one. And that's how that came to be. So
Okay.
that ended up that number 2 and number 3 were taken off the plate.
Okay, so 2 and 3.
So we go with the cheap version, but
Okay,
there was never a cheap version of a change
not
order.
this, no.
So that's how that came to be.
Okay, make your motion, Steve.
Okay, let's see. I would like to approve change order number 4 of the Armada wastewater treatment plant SRF number 5645-01 and approve item number 1, the SBR drain valve replacement.
You have this written down, or are you winging it?
I'm kind of winging it.
Okay, so item number 1, you gotta
Item
go
number
over
1, the SBR drain valve replacement. I'll give you this paperwork.
SBR drain valve replacement.
Yes. At a cost of $12,180.50. And the sludge storage tank valve replacement at a cost of $8,000. Item number 3, the concrete stoop elevation additional sidewalk at a cost of $4,625. And item number 4, the North Gallery blower access at a cost of $22,000 for a grand total of $46,805.50.
Support.
Moved and supported. Any further discussion?
Just, again, maybe how you were asking it, and I might have missed it. Is there any rationale, Steve, to go with your item number 4? These are separate items, or not just better versions of, number 1's not the least palatable option, number 2 is a better way to fix it, number 3 is the best way to fix it. They're all 3 different, or what?
Well, they're all 3 different, and with them having to dismantle at least 2 of the blowers anyway, even after you made the opening bigger, because they have to get past, because of the limited area down there.
Right.
So I cannot see why I would go ahead and make a big doorway to get one down there okay, when I gotta do the others, so. Again, it's cheaper, it's a little more time consuming, but it keeps the project going. There would be no lag time where they've gotta do this or do that with that opening and rigging. They have to remove, I don't know if you read the fine print, they gotta remove a stairway then, put a beam in for rigging the blower down there, and it's quite involved.
So you would not recommend?
I would not, no.
The second option doesn't give you the bang for the buck?
No,
for
no.
17,000 more? Okay.
No.
All right.
I thought so early on, but when I found out they gotta dismantle the other 2 anyway, I said, that just negates that one.
Got it. Did you get a support?
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah, Bailey.
Yeah.
Anything further discussion? If not, call roll please.
Clark,
Yes.
Ballard,
Yes.
Conan,
Yes.
Sleds,
Yes.
Belkey,
Yes.
Wolock.
Yes. Motion carried.
Thank you, everyone.
You're doing a good job down there.
Yeah, I'll try and keep them honest. if I
Next
can.
is the
Bye.
2021-2022 DDA budget approval. What is it? Council version?
Mr. President, I'll resolve to approve the proposed fiscal year 2021/2022 budget for the Downtown Development Authority Fund.
Second.
Moved and supported. Ballard, Cronin.
Just before you vote, though, I do just want to emphasize that this is still a restricted budget. Restrictions that we put forth after the 2008 drop in assessments is still what we're going by, because they still don't have enough to make the bond payments and pay back everything to the general fund that the general fund picked up in the interim to pay for that. So all revenues are allocated to the bond payment, and the only payments included in that budget are the payments to the bond.
And how many more years do you have on this bond?
This bond is done in 2025.
That's what I was thinking.
Really? Okay.
It's almost like a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
You weren't kidding there.
Okay.
But you'll still have to keep the DDA district going. You won't
Oh,
end the
yeah.
DDA
Right.
district because
Yeah.
of the back end to the general fund. And then when you're done, it'll go back to the planning commission for adoption.
Yeah, this one I did.
Okay.
Then we'll start paying back slowly.
Once you get the bond paid off, you can start paying back the general.
So I
All
need
right,
25,000
so-
from the general fund
That is actually,
for the bond principal.
it's towards bond principal, but we only pay the amount because you can't prepay the bond. But it's part of our financial status with the county, that we are making sure that that's a viable fund, because it has no other money coming in other than that reduced tax revenue. So that's just kind of a requirement.
Okay. Roll call please.
Ballard,
Yes.
Conan,
Yes.
Belkey,
Yes.
Sleds,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Wolock.
Yes. Motion carried. Next is a consider compliance with the PA 152 of 2011 through the continued implementation of the 80/20 employee health care contribution. What is the council motion, please?
We've been doing this for years, so.
Mr. President, I'll resolve to comply with the Public Act 152 of 2011 by continuing the 80/20 option of the village contribution to the cost of employees' health insurance effective beginning January 1, 20...
February 1.
February 1, 2021. Thank you.
Support.
Slade, okay. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Department of Public Works offer of employment. The Mayor Pro Tem and myself and the Superintendent met with the subjects and recommended by the Superintendent that we employ Paul Vianney, and you have the wording here. It'll be $18 an hour, and the other benefits described. He will probably be taking the test and that this week for the doctor's review, in other words, and then starting probably January the 18th. So it'll be a week to go to get the requirements.
Okay. Mr. President, I resolve to authorize the Superintendent of Public Works to extend an offer of employment to Paul Vianney at the base hourly rate of $18 per hour with overtime, comp time, clothing allowance, workers' comp, and liability insurance benefits comparable to those provided to current full-time DPW employees. Eligible for medical, dental, disability, and life insurance after 90 days of employment, personal and sick time and holiday pay upon successful completion of probationary period. The offer of employment is subject to Vianney passing background and medical examinations, and continued employment is contingent upon Vianney completing a 6-month probationary period, after which an employment agreement may be offered.
Second.
Moved by Ballard, second by Cohen. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
The motion carried. Is there any upcoming agenda items, please?
We'll present the capital improvement planning and funding evaluation report to the council at the next meeting. Again, those that have copies, please, if you got any comments, put them in my box by Friday so that I can get them in and get them put into the report. Thank you.
Next is citizen comments. No citizens.
Back to the agenda. Next meeting's agenda, you do have a budget workshop ahead of it, 5:30. We'll be discussing streets, police, and parks.
All right. Citizen comments, none in the audience. Council comments. None. Community events. None. So there's no closed session tonight. I'm going to entertain a motion for adjournment.
The time is 8 p.m. I move to adjourn.
Mr. Ballard,
Support.
Mike Clark. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you.